Hello, I'm Jessica. On Instagram, I'm this borderline Jess. I'm 31 years old and I'm from Canada. I grew up across the country, Halifax, Toronto, Calgary, living in Toronto right now. My childhood was really great. I was raised by strong-ass Latin women who just really raised me up. Although I had everything that I needed, I had a really great childhood and the people around me did their absolute best. I did feel like I was really lacking in emotional security, safety, and validation. I always had this deep sense of lack of belonging and always searching for something else. I didn't get a BPD diagnosis until I was 27. After a lot of misdiagnosis, I was diagnosed with depression. Mid-20s, I got an anxiety diagnosis, but anxiety never made sense to me. I started seeing this psychiatrist and he diagnosed me with bipolar type 2. And I was like, okay, this makes more sense. Mood swings up and down, energy up and down. But, I started medication and it wasn't working for me. And I was having a year in my life where I was very impulsive. I was partying a lot. I wasn't making very healthy choices for myself. And I was in denial about how depressed I was. I was just trying to mask it. And then I got into a relationship that was really unhealthy. It was very serious, very fast. And it was really emotionally and psychologically abusive both ways. I ended up sent to a mental health hospital, and that is where I met the psychiatrist who diagnosed me with BPD. It was terrifying because it sounded awful, and it sounded like people with BPD must be terrible people because they're feeling terrible things. But at the same time, it was one of the most validating experiences of my life. At its worst for me, I did not feel like myself. I was extremely suicidal. I was self-harming regularly. I would go from 0 to 100 like that. I was no longer in my body or in my emotions or in anything. It was just pain. I remember feeling like I was on fire, like my brain was on fire, like my chest was on fire, and I would do anything to put it out. Nobody knew. I was very isolated from my friends, from my family. That thankfully coincided with when I finally got off the wait list for dialectical behavioral therapy. That was life-changing. The first thing was learning distress tolerance skills. Learning how to get through those episodes where I felt like I was dying was very challenging. And it took about a year maybe before I reached a point where I started feeling a bit more in control. I have so much more intention now. I feel like I can actually choose for myself how I want to live my life. And this is something I'm still working on and might sound really simple, but I used to struggle making meaningful decisions because it took too much energy. I used to sleep like 20 hours. So now having a little bit more time, having more energy, I just have so much more autonomy. I can decide to act differently. I can start thinking a little bit more towards my future and what kind of life I want to live. I just finished my master's at Columbia University and it went smoothly. I can look into my future and have a fairly reasonable idea of what I can do, and that feels amazing. So autonomy, and I'm really freaking proud of myself for that. What are my hobbies and interests? Okay, I don't have very many hobbies. I'm now trying to integrate things more into my life so I have a more balanced life. Things that I really enjoy doing though, two things. I'm a social justice lawyer. I do a lot of legal aid work. I'm really interested in social movements and social justice advocacy, politically aligned action, and learning and education. So I do a lot in that space. So that's one thing. And then another thing is being outside, planting my feet on the ground with the sun on my face when I didn't have very many coping mechanisms or a really good understanding of what I was going through. I would just go hiking. I would go to the forest, or I would just go somewhere where I could be alone. I discovered for myself that being at the peak of a mountain and looking down and realizing how tiny I am, that feeling was really comforting to me. So I found a lot of solace in nature. Tip I want to give to people who are really struggling: just be patient. Openness to learning is the main thing that you need. Just keep on doing that, and and the rest will just start progressing. It'll just start coming. You're gonna look back a month from now, 6 months from now, a year, 5 years from now, and your life is gonna be so different. You don't even know what you're capable of yet. Life is always changing. You're not stuck in this moment. So just wait. What is one thing that makes my life worth living? I love life. I love life. Life is so beautiful. The earth is so beautiful. People are amazing. People are weird. There's so much out there to just like discover. That in itself makes life worth living for me. I think my BPD experience is beautiful. Even before I realized what it was, the intensity in which I could feel and live my life. I always sort of saw that, my ability to understand others, to be really empathetic, my capacity for pain, even though I freaking hate pain, is like my superpower. And, all the good and the bad, it all has a beauty to it. It's all an experience, and you go through it. I'm really grateful for my BPD. I don't think I would do so well in my job today. I don't think I would have as fulfilling relationships or as deep connections. I don't think I would be as open of an individual as I am. And, I'm excited to see what else I'm going to grow into, because I don't think I would be me without my BPD. And I really like who I am.